Hey everyone, welcome back to Reading with Asha. For today's video, I'm really excited because it's getting to be that time of year, which is my favorite time, my favorite season, and that is summer. So we're gonna be doing summer book recommendations. These are all books that I have read either in the summertime or before summer and been like, that is definitely a really good summer book. You've probably heard of some of them. Some of them you maybe haven't heard of or maybe haven't been as hyped up, whatever it may be. But if you are looking for a good summer beach read or something to read on vacation, I got you. Even if it's not summer and you want something to read on vacation, these are gonna be the perfect books to read. So I have 10 physical books and then I have, I think, 2 or 3 on Kindle Unlimited that you can read. Let's get right into my favorite books to read during the summertime. First of all, I'm going to talk about this book. If you have been watching my channel for a long time, you probably know that this is like one of my favorite books ever, and that is Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. I read this last summer and I read this in one sitting. It was so good. It's a fairly short book. I don't think it's long at all, but it's actually literary fiction. I wasn't a huge literary fiction fan until I read this, and then I wanted to read more and more, and I feel like a lot of this author's books are more summery kind of vibe, kind of coming of age. That's what this is. At least it's a coming of age novel and it's based in 1970s Baltimore. It's about a girl. Her name is Mary Jane. She is 14 years old and her family is very stereotypical. Her mom is like a housewife. Her dad really doesn't talk or anything like that. Her mom does all the cooking and cleaning, and that's kind of what Mary Jane is used to. And then she sees this ad in the newspaper to be a babysitter for a respectable doctor in the neighborhood. At least that's what her mom thinks. And she goes over to this house to babysit this little girl, and it's completely different than anything she's ever seen. The house is a mess. They talk pretty vulgar. It's pretty cluttered, and the well-respected doctor that her mom believes is the father of the household is actually a psychiatrist who has taken in a famous rock star and his wife for the summer to help the rock star get clean. So it's kind of not all what she expected to be around, but she learns so much, and it's so cute and heartwarming to see. And also it's summertime and they also go on this beach trip. As you can see by the cover, I feel like it's very summer-esque. But you would definitely get really good summer vibes from this, and if you've never read a literary fiction book, this would be a great one to start off with because it's really good, really nice. And I love coming of age stories, especially for the summertime, which I have a couple more in here that are really good, so I would highly recommend this one as my first choice. These are in no particular order, but I just had to mention that one first. The rest of them are just all mixed up. Next up, another one of my favorites is The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. So this is a very summery vibe. I'm pretty sure I read this on vacation one time and I absolutely loved it. I just think reading these books in warm weather or on some sort of trip makes them that much better and really allows you to feel all of the good vibes of the book. I just feel like also the cover is so summery. I mean, it's called The Summer of Broken Rules. So this is about a girl. Her name is Meredith, and this is set in Martha's Vineyard. So it's a very pretty little beach island, and her whole family is going there for this summer wedding for her cousin. So everyone's reconnecting and they play this huge game of assassin like every time they go there, and she hasn't been there in a while or played the game since her sister passed away. I think it says 18 months ago. It's a pretty big deal for her. And also, if you don't know what assassin is, it's I think you pull names and then you have to shoot the other person with a water gun to get them out, and then once you get them out, you take on their name to kill that person. You're not actually obviously killing them, you're just shooting them with a water gun, but it's a very fun summery game. She meets a cute groomsman who she basically forms this alliance with. She kind of feels it becoming more than that. So it's a really good book, even if it doesn't sound that interesting. It's based in Martha's Vineyard. It's so cute. It's also YA. The text is pretty big. I think this is a good book if you're just starting off getting into reading, or you want to read something super light and easy, get out of a reading slump, whatever it may be. This is a really good, easy, fun read that I love. Next up, I have probably my favorite summer author ever, and that is Ellen Hildebrand. She is absolutely so good at writing summery scenes, and a majority of her books are based on the island Nantucket, which I want to go to so bad after reading her books, which some of you guys already know that, but I want to go there so bad. Like I have this intense need to go to Nantucket just because of Ellen Hildebrand. Like I didn't even know what Nantucket was before this, before reading any of her books, and now I have attachment to it, okay? So anyways, This is my favorite book by her. Well, wait. This is my favorite book by her that I read in the summer for sure. And all of her books are pretty summery, except she has a whole Winter Street series, which is amazing, but it's a Christmas read. This book is so good. I don't hear enough about this book, and this is also literary fiction because Ellen Hildebrand writes literary fiction, and I'm pretty sure that these are all based in third-person point of view instead of first-person, so if you're not used to reading that, it might take a little bit of getting used to, but it's not that bad, and it always flips in between characters, so there's several different point of views throughout the story, so there's always something interesting going on with each character while you're reading, and I have a couple other books that are similar to that if that's something that you like. But this is another coming of age story, so if you read Mary Jane, you would probably really like this because that's how I felt about it. This book focuses on the Levin family. So there's a 13-year-old Jessie, middle sister Kirby, and then there's an older sister too whose name is Blair. And Blair is super pregnant in this book, but sorry, I had to read the back of the book to remember the characters' names because in Ellen's books there's so many different characters, but they are on the island of Nantucket and it's so pretty in the summer. This just encapsulates the whole entire book, and that is such a summery cover. I hate when real people are on the cover, but I absolutely love this cover and all of Ellen's covers. Honestly, they're so good. But if you just look up Nantucket, you'll probably want to read all of her books that are based in the summertime, but if you like a coming of age story, there's a little bit of romance, I'm pretty sure, with each character, but they're just doing so many fun summery things in this book, like going to the beach and going shopping and just going around Nantucket. Just look up Nantucket for me and you'll want to read this, okay? It's such a good book. I absolutely loved it and highly would recommend. Next up, we have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. She actually just came out with another book. I don't think it's in relation to this book. I mean, I might be wrong, but it's another summery book, and I think it's called Meet Me at the Lake, which I definitely am putting on my summer TBR, even though I already have so many books on my TBR. I actually have to get a new bookshelf because my whole bookshelf is full, and a lot of the books on there I haven't read yet, so it's okay. Anyways, this is a really good book. A lot of people would relate it to Love in Other Words because it's a childhood friends to lovers romance and it's second chance. So basically it's Sam and Percy and they meet when they're younger. They meet at the lake when they're younger. So they have like this little cottage lake house thing and they both live right next door to each other. So that's how they meet, doing all these really fun summery things like jumping off the dock and going swimming and having swimming competitions, everything like that. You see them falling in love in this book. It goes back and forth between back then and then now, and then for some reason they split up. We don't know why. We figure it out at the end of the book, and then she has to come back in town in present time and they're kind of forced to reconnect. But it's so good and you're kind of wondering the whole time because you're seeing them falling in love when they're younger and you're like, this is so pure and cute and such good summer vibes. It'll make you want to go to a lake or have a lake house. That's how I felt when I was reading this. It's just an absolutely great summer book, so I'd highly recommend that one. Next up, I have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This writing style is very similar to Ellen Hildebrand's, switching in point of views because it's a literary fiction book, but there's also some romance in it. There's like several romances in this one. This is based in Malibu in August of 1983. It's not like a historical book or anything like that. The Riva family has this huge end of summer party because they're super rich and they all have this huge party where like so many different celebrities come to, and it also connects to like two other of her books as well in case you've read any other Taylor Jenkins Reid books. But some very crazy stuff happens at this party because you can see everything that leads up to it with each different family member. I don't know why it came out like that. One of the brothers is in love with his other brother's ex-girlfriend, which is, you know, a no-no in bro code. The youngest daughter is kind of having a coming of age narrative. The oldest daughter, she's like a swimsuit model and her husband is cheating on her. The other brother is a surfing champion. They all love surfing. That's why there's like surfboards and stuff on the cover, and it's very prominent in this book, which is a huge summer vibe. But obviously it's based in Malibu, so it's all about going to the beach and sand and just all of those good, great summer vibes. And I think that if you want that, this is a really good book. All of these are really good. But so next up, I have a series which you're gonna be so shocked to hear me talk about because I'm sure you've never heard of it before, and that is the Summer I Turned Pretty series, which I was obviously just kidding. You've probably definitely heard about this because it's actually also a TV show, and I'm pretty sure the second season is coming out on June 13th or 14th. or maybe it's July. It's one of the two, honestly. I can't really remember. It wasn't my favorite, but I do think the summer vibes are really, really great in all of these books because it's about going to a beach house. These are all young adult novels, so they're really, really easy to read, and it's also coming of age because the main character, Belly, is very young at first, and then she becomes pretty, so then she has to choose between the two brothers that she sees at her beach house, which is her mom's best friend's sons. So basically she develops a crush on the two brothers, and then it kind of becomes a love triangle back and forth situation. But needless to say, the vibes are very good because it's at a beach house. They're always going swimming. So like I said, it's a very summery series. If you don't really want to read it, you could also watch the TV show. I think that the TV show is a lot different, and I found a lot of the TV show being kind of cringy, but it's also got really good summer vibes, and I will be watching the next season. The TV show also has AAPI representation. If you want to watch a good show for Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, it's definitely a great option. There's obviously also a lot of better shows that kind of represent the experience more, but it has representation in it, which I think is very important. So it's a good show. The series is very good and summery, and it's young adult, and the covers are pretty cute too in summary. I mean, you have to admit that. It wasn't my favorite, but you might love it. So just because it wasn't my favorite doesn't mean that it might not be your favorite, okay? Okay, next up I have two more Ellen Hildebrand books. Look at the covers. I mean, they're very summery. I have these both in hardback because I got this one on sale, and then this one had just come out when I bought it, so they only had it in the hard version. This goes back to the summer of 1993, and the main character, her name is Mallory. So this is a romance between Mallory and Jake, and they form this really strong connection, but there's so many things that come in between it. Marriages with other people and children and everything like that, but she has a really cute little tiny cabin kind of house on Nantucket. Mention the literal point of this book is that they meet up every Labor Day, I think, for 28 summers straight. So that's how they keep the connection going. That's like the only time they see each other because all these other things make it very difficult. This one is really unlike anything that I've read by Ellen ever. This is the Hotel Nantucket, and it's kind of like a ghost story, but it's not a scary ghost story or anything like that. It's about a ghost whose name is Grace, who lives in this hotel, but again, it switches in between multiple points of views. One of the main characters' name is Lisbeth. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it, and she went through a really bad breakup, so she basically decides to invest all of her time into revamping this hotel that so many people have not wanted to go to because they say it's haunted and it's also just like really creepy. But someone invests a lot of money into it, and they're able to revamp it and make it a really nice hotel, and they're kind of trying to gain the approval of this hotel reviewer, and they want a perfect 5 stars, which is very, very rare from her. And then there's also a couple of other storylines with little romances as well, and then the ghost, her name is Grace, who haunts the hotel, and she kind of oversees everything and makes the experience more fun for some people, and also will scare off, I guess, some people as well. But it's a really fun summery read, and there's just so much going on. If you just want something nice and light and easy, this is a really good option. Okay, and then for the couple ones that I have on my Kindle, the first one I actually just read because I did a TBR jar for this month, and I got a Kindle Unlimited read, so I chose the book Every Last Secret, which is actually a thriller, and it's not a scary thriller because I don't really like really scary books. So if you're kind of into mystery and that type of thing, you'll probably really like it. But I found that it had really good summer vibes just because it is based in summer in California. But the two main characters whose point of views it goes in between is Kat and Nina. So Kat lives in this neighborhood already. Her husband is super, super wealthy. They live in this super rich neighborhood, so if you like rich, like Real Housewives type of vibe, you would totally love this book. And then Nina just moves in. She's pretty sketchy, and she ends up working for Kat's husband. That's kind of why she moves into the area and everything like that. But she seems very, very sketchy to Kat, and also you can tell that she is really out to get Kat's husband. She's very attracted to him and all this stuff, and she's a total gold digger. So Kat is a great neighbor, you know, she greets them really nicely. She's super open and warm, and Nina kind of thinks that she can take advantage of Kat, like Kat's just a stupid wife who doesn't know anything that's going on or her plans or anything like that. But let me just say that Kat is a very, very smart woman. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. But it's really, really interesting because this Nina girl is out to get her husband the whole entire time. There's so many secrets and it's so toxic and there's a lot of jealousy, but everything turns out to be really, really good and it's such an interesting read. I read this book in one day and I think it's a little over 300 pages. I read it on my Kindle and it was so, so good. So if you're looking for a little thriller mystery for the summer, this is a perfect option. The next one that I have to recommend is Heartbones, which is a Colleen Hoover book, and this is a YA book. It is a really good book. It's also kind of mysterious, but it's about a girl. She's pretty young and she ends up moving in with her dad who lives in this beach town after I think her mom passes away or her mom leaves. It's one of the two. Either way, she moves in with her dad who she hardly knows and moves to this little beach town with a ton of rich kids, which she's not used to at all because with her mom she lived in a pretty poor area. So it's really, really interesting to see the change there and also the vibes of the whole beach town and all of the friends that are getting together. They have like beach bonfires and all those really fun things that you dream about and want to escape to when you're thinking of summer. It's a romance book, so she ends up falling in love with someone who lives near her who kind of never really talks to anyone. I read this book like 2 years ago on my Kindle and it was on Kindle Unlimited at the time. I don't know if it will be anymore though. So if you like that, if you like Colleen Hoover, this is a good option. It's a super, super quick and easy read. I read it on my Kindle really fast. And then next up, I have an age gap romance, which usually I don't like talking about or I don't ever talk about just because it's not my favorite. But The Confidence of Wildflowers duet I felt like was a really good summer read because it's based in the summertime and I'm pretty sure it's the 19-year-old daughter who falls in love with like the 31-year-old neighbor next door who has a son and everything, and the son in the books is so cute. But it's just their romance and everything that they go through, kind of falling in love with that distant of an age gap, which sounds just crazy, but it's actually not that bad. I would highly recommend that if you like age gap romances, but it's based in the summertime. I'm pretty sure it might go more than just summertime, but I think I read this last summer and I really, really liked just reading it in the summertime and the vibes of that, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. There's 2 books, The Confidence of Wildflowers and The Resurrection of Wildflowers, I'm pretty sure. Both on Kindle Unlimited if you want to read those. But those are all of my summer recommendations for you to read this summer. I hope you guys like this video. If you have any recommendations for me, please comment them down below. Soon I will make a summer TBR to show you guys books that I hope to read this summer. A lot of them which I already have on my shelf and was probably supposed to read last summer. But I wanted to make that a separate video because I felt like I had a good amount of recommendations for this. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe down below if you're new for more videos. I love you all so much and appreciate your support, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!